Hey, could you pass me I've just been eyeing off those little sandwiches there. Anybody else for a...
Yes, please.
I love visitors. Entertaining them with food and drink. They're good cheer, filling my personal space. Plus, it's an excuse to run through all my old anecdotes and jokes. How do you tell the difference between crabs and lobsters? Crabs walk sideways. Oh my God, I've got lobsters there.
Hi, I'm Judy Harrington.
I'm Walter Balls.
I'm Keith Brownwood.
Hi, I'm Max Breckenridge.
So this is kind of the last episode, so we just thought it would be a good thing. You know, we've used you cruelly in all the other episodes, and that we all kind of come together at the end and see if I can get a definitive end to this series, which I haven't got at the moment. So I'm not sure how to end it, and we thought it would be good just to have a powwow.
At the moment, I like Pee-wees. I've just spent 2 weeks with my 2-year-old granddaughter in Alice Springs, amusing her with a new baby in the family, and we've looked at lots of Pee-wees and Pee-wees making nests, and she knows their call. So I think I like Pee-wees at the moment. Magpie larks.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
It's funny, I always think that the Pee-wee has very little charisma, but I could be wrong in the bird world.
Quite interesting.
Oh, it's got plenty of charisma.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I always just look at it, and maybe it's because it's so familiar, you know, and I think, ugh.
No, it's got a very strident call with it, you know, and
They're aggressive.
stands out. Not really. No, I wouldn't say they're aggressive, are
Push
they?
little leg and like Willy Wagtails, and maybe I'll say Willy Wagtail. I'm just what comes to my head straight off, because they're bold little characters too, and Willy Wagtails and Pee-wee stick together.
I've kind of almost got the same vibe as you, except I'd have the superb fairy wren.
Your little wrens are nice.
I really love those little birds. What about you, Walter? Would you have 5 favourite birds, or...?
Well, I do like the magpie larks because I think they do have a real personality.
I'm saying they don't.
Well, I quite like them because, particularly if you get it in areas where they're used to people and will, take handouts, they behave in a much more dignified manner than, say, gulls do, or gulls get in there a great squabble. The magpie lark will walk in, and stately, and it has a very different approach to it. I like magpies because they're very bright and they have a real streak of playfulness.
Yeah.
Which very few other birds demonstrate to that extent. Then other things I quite like log runners.
What's a log runner?
It's a wonderful little rainforest bird that runs around on the ground and makes loud noises, and either can be very jumpy and shy or just so bold that it sort of wanders around your feet, and has a very peculiar way of sort of looking for food, which it scratches around on the ground but kicks in very odd ways. And I've always liked collectively the robins and the whistler shrike thrush group.
What about you, Maxie boy?
Next new one.
What?
The next new one.
Really? So a potential twitcher here.
Well, you get a kind of rush when you see a new one, even if it's something that's very common in that kind of area. So you go to Western Australia and you see, I don't know, Western Spineville, and everyone says, that's common, what's so special about it? But it's new to you, and it's good. And you add one to your list. It's only one small number, but it still counts. So, yeah.
Keith here. I mean, although I know you like seeing the next bird, but you also can look at the same bird over and over and find enjoyment in the same bird as well. So, have you got 5 faves?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've not got 5, but I've got a white-winged chuff.
I know that.
My character bird. It's a beautiful bird. It's just absolutely full of character.
They're like the Three Stooges of birds. I mean, they're funny.
Very funny birds, yes. And restless flycatcher, which is a fantastic bird to watch, and the calls of that bird, while it's doing its hovering over the ground, as scissor grinder bird, that's what they call it. It's just like a pair of scissors on a grinder wheel. That's the sort of noise it makes. Fantastic call.
Yeah.
And my others are just for identification purpose. I like the challenges, shorebirds and seabirds. So yeah, that's about satisfy me.
Do you get seasick?
Yes, very seasick. Well, not very seasick, but I can't go down below. I've got to stay out the front of the boat, getting all the wind in my face and keep my eyes. So if you're ever on a boat, Steve, I'll never be looking at you. I'll be looking at the horizon.
But eventually, guests leave, and you have to say goodbye. I'm never great with goodbyes. Even when I was small, whenever my father went to work, I always chased after him. Sometimes I was so emotional, I didn't realise Dad had slipped out the back and I was actually chasing the neighbour's car. Do you like birding by yourself, or do you like birding with a group of people?
I like birding by myself and with maybe 2 or 3 people, not a group of people. It's hard to bird with a group of people, if you take a group of people out, I mean, there's a lot of socialising, a lot of talking, so, you can't hear calls, especially when you get in my age and a bit deaf on the high notes.
Not bad, though.
I know, but on the high notes, I've got
your top end.
Rose Robin have to be sat on top of the mic for me to hear it calling when I could hear it quite a good distance away before. So, I mean, my greatest enjoyment is just showing overseas visitors birds. I really enjoy doing that.
But that's what struck me when we went out for the rock warbler. I mean, you still got really, really excited, like when you saw the rock warbler, like for the 100th and 200th time or whatever. But
I was just telling Walter here, we went out 2 weeks ago with a Swiss guy looking for rock warbler in the same spot, and we, where we saw it the second time, it was just on that path, and we walked up there. I said stop, and this one just came round the corner, and then there was three young ones and two adults, and
really?
they just hopped along the path, and there was about a yard from us, something like that, a metre from us, before they realised we were humans and flew into the bush. Absolutely magnificent view.
That's what I loved about that day, because then you gave me the lecture about how when you see something, don't go, there it is, there it is, there it is.
Right.
Of course, the moment we saw the rock warbler, there it is, rock warbler, rock warbler.
In the car, though.
In the car, but leaving Grandma's place, she always stayed on the footpath waving to me as I drove off. So I'd keep my hand out the window, waving back to her to ensure the connection remained. I guess as you get older, every goodbye is potentially your last. What about you, Max? Do you like going out by yourself or with, or dragging some sort of middle-aged guy like me up a rocky path where I almost had a heart attack because you set a cracking pace?
No, I like doing it on my own because we got quite a few. We're lucky in a way because we got quite a few friends. My grandparents live out near Coonabarabran, near Illamembro. And we've got friends who live down in Albury, and they've got a 30-hectare property, which is bush property, which is really good. So I always, in the mornings, then I always go up the hill or often to the paddock. So I like doing it on my own, but it's nice with another person. I mean, with groups, you always say, like, more eyes and more ears, but it's kind of...
More noise makes sense.
Yeah, more noise as well.
More movement.
Yeah. Is this because you like spending time by yourself, or you like hanging around with your friends?
Time with people, but bird watching's kind of better with less than a group. Better with more, like Keith said, 2 or 3 people.
What about you, Judy? Yourself or...?
I can lose myself watching birds by myself, I mean, you go places where you are by yourself. I can amuse myself all day just looking. But I also really enjoy taking groups. My job, too many, it's not good.
Because you'd have big groups sometimes.
Sometimes,
out there.
yeah. Beginners in particular, it's really nice speaking to a group of people who don't know a lot and just showing them even the most ordinary things or pointing out things and sharing enthusiastically with them, and they return information. That's really rewarding too. So, different ways of doing it.
Plus you can feel special because you know more than the other
people. Well, that's right, yeah.
that could be part of it. You're getting like that now, aren't you?
Oh, totally, because all my friends say to me, I saw this bird in Centennial Park and it had a red head and yellowy sort of wings, and you kind of, well, maybe it's...
Emu, easy.
It's cassowary, As I finish a meal, I'm often sad. When I place the last morsels in my mouth, I wish I could say, same again, please. But a second consecutive meal, although identical to the first, is never as satisfying. Perhaps if I didn't personalise food or pets, I wouldn't have this problem. But you can't not personalise people, and that means you always miss them when they leave. Like bird watching too, you can, if you're feeling a bit low or you're having a bad day, it can actually remove you from life's baggage.
It certainly does myself, yeah. I can lose myself in it and take my binoculars and you suddenly think, I haven't thought about this or that or problems or really.
And when you return from bird watching, perhaps you're slightly refreshed or...
Refreshed.
Yeah.
It depends how hard you've been bird watching.
Yeah. And Walter, you a loner or a group man?
Sometimes, well, one of the nice things about birding is you can just do it anytime. So if you're traveling, you may just be on your own doing it quite casually, and you can just run out and do it. But it is, as they've already said, very nice to show other people.
So, it's with trepidation the series concludes. On one hand, I'm relieved because the time devoted to this is now free. But as I watch Keith, Judy, Walter, and Max walk up the metaphoric gangplank to sail off to goodbye, I'm a little sad. Birdbrain has opened doors and windows and stirred me in ways not much else has. I'm hooked. Well, at least I think I'm hooked. It will be interesting to see if I keep this birds thing up without Keith, Walter, Judy and Max's presence. Okay, you get in. I'm just going to go for the cakes, but what's this powerful owl story we hear?
I remember one, not this place I lived now, the place before, and there was in the creek. That's where they always are, on the creeks. And it was calling this night, so I took Celia and my wife down there, and we went watching them. And this one sat on the bow, and I see this brush-tailed possum coming along the bow towards the owl. I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The possum jumped straight over the owl to the other side of the log, and then the female powerful owl came in and tried to grab the possum, but I was amazed that I thought the possum would be scared of a powerful owl and go away, but wasn't. Jumped straight over it onto the other side of it. Amazing.
Wouldn't the possum know that the powerful owl is a predator?
Well, that's right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he was a full-grown brush-tailed possum, so probably...
Brushy's probably not a problem.
I thought they'd only really tackle ringtail, wouldn't they?
They
all
take
little brushes.
the one at the gardens years ago was mainly ringtails and black rats. Occasional flying fox, but they didn't seem to worry about it because it was sort of roosting right on the edge of their colony, and no one seemed to pay any attention to it.
That's the powerful owl I must have seen. It just had a tail, obviously a rat tail was hanging out its mouth when I saw it, but which was quite exciting because it's like me, it doesn't chew its food properly and it eats quite fast. Where do you see sort of bird watching in, say, 30 years' time?
I imagine there might be some more structured places where we create some habitat to encourage birds so that people can actually go there and see them, because they may not be in other places.
What do you think, Walter, in 30 years' time?
We will see a change in the general composition of the bird communities, because there are things that are going to cope well with the changes, irrespective of anything that climate adds on top of that. You also get changes in probably the seabirds, because if water's warm, ocean water's warm, and it starts creeping towards the poles, the colder water near the poles are much richer nutrient-wise and much better able to support the full food chain, which the large things like albatrosses are at the top. If that keeps getting contracted further and further south, then it's going to affect those range of birds that fed in some of the sub-Antarctic waters. Some of the modeling that's been done for the Atherton tableland shows that if things warm up, some of these birds, which are the highland birds, golden bowerbirds, gray-headed robins, things like that, will have to keep moving further and further up the mountain to stay in the preferred range. And at some point, the preferred range no longer exists.
What do you see, Keith? Any 30 years? I mean, you'll have 700 birds by then, obviously. But...
Yes. I won't be around to tell you in 30 years, I can tell you, if I do. You can imagine me sat here at 100-year-old.
Yeah. Actually, strangely enough, Keith...
I'll have my binoculars permanently because I won't be able to see through anything else.
That analogy of like going further up the mountain, I mean, I can just see your mountain going up and up and up.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It'll be a lot easier, I think. I can see binoculars coming out soon where you look through them at a bird and it'll tell you what the bird is and give you the song and everything all in the binoculars.
Well, they exist,
which is going to spoil it really for bird watching, but I can see that'll eventually happen.
See, I can see you being put into a coffin, Keith, if you and your binoculars
but
still are...
Hang on, one more.
Yeah. Have a little hole cut in your coffin.
But they're all being burned and I want them scattering at sea by you, Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just
pelagic out to Sydney. Your first pelagic out to Sydney it'll be.
Suddenly shy albatrosses and all that are coming up the horizon.
Booby will come.
Abbott's booby. Yeah, he's already... You could tick an Abbott's booby because really that's what I am.
Yeah, Abbott's booby. Yeah, I've got it ticked actually.
Yeah. Have you? Why didn't you cough that up earlier?
No, you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I haven't really seen one.
Deep down you have only disdain for me, don't you? Don't want to put the pressure on you, Max, but the future of bird watching is in your hands. I mean, you're one of 3 or 4 13-year-olds. You're still 13?
Yep.
Yeah, who are taking up bird watching. I mean, we'll all be gone in 30... I'm assuming we'll all be gone in 30 years. You got longevity in your family, or...?
Moderate, but yeah.
Moderate. Well,
Wee bit behind him, but yes.
Most of the men going out late 60s in my family, so I'll be gone. I mean, Keith 30.
Yeah.
Beside the jokes aside, you're not going to be...
I'm not, no.
Yeah. And Walt, I don't know how old you are, but...
56.
Are you?
Yeah.
God, I'm younger than you. Maybe it's just you and me are the future of bird watching. And so, I mean, it's in your hands. What are you going to do?
I don't want it to be like so every single person or whatever does it, but I think you want to get a lot more people aware about it basically and introduced as that sort of thing, and not just bird watching and going out and seeing birds, but looking after birds and protecting habitat and basically learning more about bird habits and what they do to survive and how they're be affected by climate change.
As the gangplank withdraws and people throw their streamers to those of us left behind, I need to find them some space in my house of memory so I don't forget them. The house of memory being a structure I built as soon as I was old enough to recall things. Obviously, some rooms are full, and every now and again you have to throw something out to make space. But I should find them some permanent space in my house because they've helped me to freshen up. The other option is to renovate my house of memory. But who can be bothered renovating? To be honest, who can be bothered storing our most recent memories? When I remember things now, I return to childhood, first love, when the kids were young. It's not often. I want to return to my 50th birthday when I got drunk and swore on radio. No point placing memories in a room then forgetting about them.
My Australian list is 683 at this moment.
Somewhere over 500 for Australia and something else large for other parts of the world.
But I'd say we were well over 400, probably 500.
I'm up to 327.
Well, of course, my aim to get 600 bird sightings is lost. But the list thing became less important the more I learned. I'm a birder, not a twitcher. I like to see what birds are doing. I'm more interested in seeing the same bird than discovering the next bird. Birds are an escape from the everyday. But I guess I still love familiarity more than unfamiliarity. However, like everyone, I like to be special. Only children are bred to be special. So if I simply add Judy, Walter, Keith and Max's numbers to Steve's definitive list of other people's bird sightings, I not only have a massive list, I have a definitive ending to what I started out doing. The end. Some of us are going.
Some of us are going.
Some of us are going away.
Going away.
Some of us are saying.
Some of us are saying.
Our last goodbye.
Our last goodbye.
So we'll blow you kisses.
Blow you kisses.
As we sail to goodbye.
No one really comes back.
From goodbye.
From goodbye.
Some of us are going.
I don't know whether you're lazy or busy, Steve.
Some of us are going away.
That's Godwit flying overhead going peep, peep.
Some of us are saying
Egrets, I've had a few.
our last goodbye.
I might start to call myself a twitcher.
So we'll blow you kisses.
I'm really amazed how often I get asked this question when people find out I'm a bird watcher. Do birds have penises?
No one really comes
I just find them beautiful. There's some sort of transcendental aspect to watching things fly.
I think the magpie doing the warbling is lovely.
Ooh, you've been working with seabirds.
You left 6 a.m, you got here about 8:45.
No one really comes back.
really comes back.
From goodbye.
Look at the baby wood ducks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, they're beautiful.